Welcome back to our highlights from Sky Arts coverage of the 2019 Cheltenham Literature Festival. It's time to join one of pop music's most iconic figures, Debbie Harry, talking about her memoir, Face It.
Debbie, I can now call you a best-selling author.
I know.
She's number 3, and she's number 3. So, yes. But how does it feel to be a best-selling author? That's my first question.
Oh, I don't know if it has really sunk in.
Okay.
In a way, I'm kind of embarrassed because, you know, I haven't really learned to spell.
You said your mother listened to music.
My mother loved opera, and she was tone deaf, and she would insist on singing along with the opera, which sometimes I found it funny, and other times I was kind of horrified. But she really did love it, and she knew a lot about it. But nobody in my family played an instrument or anything like that. So I just had an ear and went with it.
Do you think that when you became a success singer, do you think she had any, because she loved music so much, but she was tone deaf, do you think she was kind of like, I wish I could have done that?
Oh, no. No. She came from a very sort of, I don't know, I wouldn't say it was reserved, but it was from a different era. You know, her upbringing was very strange compared to today. She was born very late. She was like my grandmother's 4th or 5th child. My grandmother was over 40 when my mother was born. So in those days, that was very shocking and, nasty business. So, the idea of going into showbiz was, in those days, it was considered, not very nice. It was, wasn't classy at all.
Did you ever have a real fight with her about it? Like, not about being in showbiz, or she was just very like...
No, I just sort of waited until I was going my own way and went my own way.
Did you find out, because Debbie is adopted, did you find out so you researched your birth family or birth mother family.
Yeah.
Were any of them musicians that you found out?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes, there was some music over there.
Okay. Well, then that makes...
Over there.
Yeah. So kind of, yeah, but...
Yes.
No.
So
Okay.
is it nature or nurture?
I don't know.
We don't know.
My mom was like, and she was probably close to 40 when she had me. Maybe this makes for some connectivity. I don't know.
When you two met the very first time, how long before you were... I actually have never asked you this. How long until you were in a relationship?
Months, a couple of months.
Yeah, it was quick.
So you were friends first?
We were friends, briefly.
And do you think that was key? That you were friends first and didn't just...
I've always said that, yes, that I thought that, our friendship was very important, that we really liked each other and it wasn't just a hot moment.
Yeah.
And I've always felt that was a truth.
Yeah. And Chris?
Yeah, sure.
Or were you dying for a month? Like?
No, it's better to... It's like that stupid Tom Cruise movie where he's putting off getting with whoever it is. I can't even remember.
Renee Zellweger?
Something like that. I don't know.
Oh, you mean the You Complete Me movie?
No.
Which one are you talking about?
The one that was shot in the Dakota, where he's mutilated.
Oh, Vanilla Sky, thank you.
And
You're a smart audience. This is going to be good for Q&A.
There's a big monologue about postponing his, relationship for maximum whatever the hell it was, and I can't say I was being very conscious of it.
I know this for a fact, but I'm just going to say the fact that Chris has such a dark, funny, weird sense of humor is how you kind of got through all of the kind of madness section of Blondie.
Well, it helped. Yeah.
She's pretty funny.
Oh, I know. But you two have kind of a similar but yet different sense of humor. It's like the yin to the yang. It's very funny. the razor blade dress. So can you tell them who?
Oh yeah, that's a dress that Michael Schmidt designed. He was the originator of the club Squeezebox.
That keeps coming up.
And he did a lot of costumes for Tina Turner and a lot of the metal bands. So he worked in metal a lot, and he said, "Oh, I'm going to make you a dress out of double-edged razor blades."
And tell them what happened in New Orleans.
Oh, New Orleans was really just it was very, very trippy, very strange. I wore the razor blade dress, and I had a solo gig where I was singing to a track, no band, and the stage was sort of a long sort of ramp that went out into the audience. And New Orleans has fantastic New Year's Eve, like really like few other places in the world, perhaps. And everyone was, having a magnificent evening, and all of a sudden, all the electricity went out. It was totally, totally black. And I was standing there in my razor blade dress, and I suddenly felt hands slithering up my dress, the razor blades. But nobody got cut. It was very, very freaky. It was very funny. Well, I mean, I would get nicked taking the dress on and off, because it was, double-edged razors.
Did you take that dress on and off by yourself, knowing you?
I beg your pardon.
No, did you have help, or did you do it by yourself?
Of course I did it myself.
Oh, God. All right. That's why you got nicked.
Yeah, the little few nicks.
It's okay.
Didn't he dull the razor blades? They were just like...
He did.
He did. He dulled them.
Foreigners are probably,
I guess
It's hard to dull a double-edged razor blade.
which segues into the presidential seal. So on tour, we were on tour with Elvis Costello, and for their encore, Debbie and the Blondie performed "From Russia with Love," and we put the fake presidential seal behind her, and it was like this most quintessential punk moment for today.
Well, we did it in D.C. They just went crazy.
They had a standing ovation.
That was the first moment we did it was in Washington, and that was everything else paled by comparison. But they're stuck in the middle of the swamp. So
I know, they're exhausted. How did you feel though did you feel like you were really saying something, or how does it feel when you're doing
When
something?
I was doing From
Yeah,
Russia
that,
with Love,
yeah.
I felt totally appropriate, really, and done in a way that was, entertaining and beautiful, as well as pointed, with, full meaning and totally obvious. So people were screaming from the audience, "God bless America," which was fine with me. I was happy to hear it. But Chris and I always had a disagreement about this, about the amount of politics and political, feeling that or meaning that we should put into our lyrics. And so this time was, he decided this. This was a good compromise.
Yeah.
This is from Naomi Watts. Who would you want to play you in your life story, and do blondes have more fun?
The Rock.
Oh, Naomi.
That would be amazing, actually.
I think, there's many, many great actresses that could probably pull it off. And I'm always surprised when they do these, sort of biopics and parts at the actresses that, get those parts, and how amazingly well they do. Because you would look at them and think, no, that's not going to work. Well, a few people have approached me. A few years ago, Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
Michelle
Yeah,
Pfeiffer.
Michelle Pfeiffer
Yeah,
did
she
it.
wanted to do it.
When you first came here, and you hit it bigger here before America,
Yeah.
correct? So why do you think that is? I'm always talking to people about the other side of the pond thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think, what is your thought about that?
I think it's kind of like Lolita. Young America seduces old Europe.
Hmm.
I don't know how, that's probably a bad take. I'll get dragged for it.
It's okay.
I thought it was because we're signed to a British label,
Yeah.
and a lot of people thought that we were English.
Really?
Yeah, or British. And I also think that the format, the style of the music that we were doing fit right in to what was going on here in a much better.
And also the immediacy of the British music press, which really there was no equivalent in the States at that time. Everything was very regional in the States, you know, the southern market and western market and all that stuff. But we got, you know, we were like really, when we first came over with television, we were really like the darlings and everything. And then when we came the second time and third time, we got pounded so heavily, they kicked our ass in the press.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask about. Like, so what was in the UK press, the worst thing that anyone said and the best thing?
Kind of probably that there was Tony Parsons really set us up. And he did this really cheerful, friendly interview and led us into talking about getting stoned and all that stuff, and then wrote this scathing piece of how we were junkies and et cetera and so forth. He went on to really give me a hard time for using guitar pedals. I remember that's the one thing that stands out.
Why?
I have no idea, because I should have been such a purist that I didn't have any guitar pedals.
So weird.
Yeah, it was very weird. And in later years, he sort of came around and wrote some nice things about Heart of Glass and stuff. So, I mean, he's forgiven. But it was just really odd because he had written some of the first things championing us when we first came over.
That's what I was wondering, if
Yeah.
he had championed you first.
And really, he
and then
really
kicked your
became.
ass.
Yeah, well, but that was kind of a standard procedure here, where they would beat you senseless for the second record, you know.
Did you read it, Debbie? Did you read the reviews, or did you not?
Well, I did actually, and then after that I stopped.
What was the worst
Well,
thing?
it just didn't do me any good.
Yeah.
And what I realized after a time was, you know, opinion is opinion, and, you know, some are good, some are bad.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, you know, that scathing time, I was so shocked that I couldn't get out of bed for a couple of weeks. And I just sort of just stayed hidden. And, but then, I don't know, it just didn't do me any good to be reading stuff. And I've given that advice to, you know, a lot of people. Just go your own way, do what you do, and don't read it.
It's a question for Debbie. We loved what you wore on stage back in the 70s, 80s. What was your favourite look, favourite outfit?
Well, I think in those early days, I wore a lot of my friend Stephen Sprouse, and his clothes were just so wonderful. But one thing in particular that I loved were the thigh-high black leather boots and the little black mini dress with the black beret. I always felt really hot wearing that, you know.